Well, you look good, I thought.
Yep.
Okay, we got 6 waiting. You ready?
Yep. Ready to go.
Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. Casey Porter, joined by Coach Holt, as I am each and every Sunday, and we have a super exciting show today. Coach, Mike Trout.
Oh, man, that was something out of the blue. I wasn't expecting to hear the Mike Trout's name come up, and be great if he would stay healthy one year. I'd feel a lot better about that, but he's a great player. He looked great in Dodger blue.
He would, okay, and also Sandy Koufax, okay? What do you remember of him?
That's about. I got to think about that case. I didn't see a whole lot of him because it was that 1965. So I was a 7-year-old. I was a 7-year-old. That was about the time I became a Dodger fan. My brother Randy got me started on that in Rick's. And so I do remember a little bit about him. I remember more of Drysdale because I think Drysdale went. I had to look it up to make sure. 1969. That's about the time I became. So I remember seeing more of Don Drysdale. All I knew about Sandy Koufax, what I remember seeing him, he was so dominating. Had the high leg kick, and he retired. I think I looked at 30 years old. He retired at age 30, kind of the Barry Sanders deal there. Retired at an early age, but he was a great pitcher for a long time there for the Dodgers. And it's a shame he only went to age 30. Of course, back in those days, those guys all went 7, 8, or 9 innings. Most of the time, they were paid money to go 9 innings. Great story. Ferguson Jenkins told us one time that's what he did. He didn't keep a pitch count, and he threw bat practice the next day. So those old timers like that were war horses. And I know he had elbow issues. I don't know if they even called it Tommy John, where they called it back in the days. I know he had elbow problems while he retired. But what a great ambassador for the Dodgers. I can't believe he's that old. When you see him now, Case, he's still 10, and he looks good, and he looks healthy, and looks like he could go out there and get you out right now with a lefty.
He probably could. Hey, by the way, I was talking to the play-by-play voice of the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers today. Going to release his interview here coming up. One of these days this week, I like to spread them out to where we have a show, then an interview, a show, an interview. So there's, not more than one piece of content coming out each and every day. You mentioned the 7-inning thing. It's in the interview, but don't quote me on this exactly. I believe he was talking about Landon Knack, only pitcher for the Oklahoma City Dodgers to go 7 innings like in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, it was just an amazing, like he said it, and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, man, it's crazy. 7 innings is like something that just doesn't happen anymore at the AAA level. It's kind of crazy.
It's unbelievable. You and I as high school coaches, even, you didn't really come up with middle relief, short relief, and a closer. If you're fortunate enough to have that, which I did in a few years of coaching, that was great to have. But for the most part, you just kind of did what you did. And if your starter could go the whole way, have at it. And of course, the team you were only won a state championship in American Legion. We got in the playoffs. Those guys had to go 9 innings. Or we only, we had 3 good starters, but the bullpen was a little shaky after that. So that's the reason we won. They were able to go 9 innings. But that's back in 1989. Also, Casey, even before that,
You're dating me, Coach, and you're definitely dating yourself.
Oh, you were a baby then, and I was only like 19 when I was coaching you guys.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. Seemed like, but anyway. Yeah, 7 innings now. That's a war horse, in today's baseball, and I'm glad to hear that Knack's got that type of durability. And the other side now, everybody worries about the arm injuries and stuff. Like I mentioned, Ferguson Jenkins said 19 years in the big leagues, never had an arm problem. No pitch count, he threw BP the day after. It's just a different time and different kind of guys.
Probably drank a case of beer and smoked a pack of cigarettes.
That's right. And go drive a beer truck in the off season just so he can make some money. They had to have jobs in the off season. They weren't paid enough.
Absolutely. Coach Dave used to chop wood.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Those are great days of old baseball. But Koufax, I think a couple of times I was at a spring training at Glendale. We saw him just from a distance. And for the last 58 years, just a great ambassador for not only the Dodgers, but the game of baseball. He's well revered all over the game of baseball. And the fact he's still involved with the Dodgers and, him and Kershaw are close friends, I understand. And that's just great for everybody. It's surely great for Kershaw to have a guy like that he can talk to. And I know there's a lot of them around there. But that's Sandy Koufax, an amazing story, and he's a Dodger, so we love it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Scott, appreciate we don't have our super chat up, but I do have the GoFundMe link right there. I'm going to pin it to the top, and I appreciate you hey, if you can give 50 cents, give $1, give whatever, 10 cents, whatever it is. that's going towards our spring training fund. We are all trying to figure out a way from a Dodgers daily perspective. I've never been to spring training. Austin's never been to spring training. You ever been, Coach?
I've been, like I said, I took our Stillwater High baseball team as the head coach out there and went to some games. We went to some games, and then after I got out, Melissa and I said, I'm going as not a coach, so I don't have to worry about 30 people. I can worry about me and her. And I actually walked around the complex that day. That's when I saw Lasorda and Sandy Koufax. I watched the minor leagues take BP.
Did you talk to them?
I didn't get a chance to talk to them. They were busy. I just didn't feel like I had
Coach, who cares? Stop and say hi to them.
Well, the minor league guys were busy. They were on the field working. It's just like wasn't he stands?
I know.
It's just that backfield over there,
which is right up your alley, by the way.
Yeah,
You're more likely to spend all day there than you are watching the major leaguers.
Absolutely. And these great-looking kids out there, swinging, taking their batting practice. I did see Lasorda. There was a line to get an autograph from him, and I still punched myself in the face for not getting in that line. It didn't take very long, but he was there going around his golf cart. Of course, he said hi to everyone, including myself. But I wish I had just taken, 10 seconds out of his time, got his autograph, and told him how much I thought about him. And now he's gone. You can't do that. That was a great thing, him driving around Dodgers workout facility there in Glendale, Arizona. If you've never been to Camelback Ranch, it's amazing. I've been there several times, and I'm ready to go back. And Melissa likes going too. We love good Mexican food and baseball. About every 20 minutes, any way you want to go, you can find a Major League Baseball game. It's awesome. Then you go watch the minor leaguers work out. Of course, Casey, the minor leaguers. You go to Camelback Ranch, you talk to these guys, and all those back fields back there, all those minor leagues are working. You've got a relationship with those guys. That would be awesome for you. You would love it. So I hope you get to go.
Yeah, no doubt. Jay, who is one of the most reputable people, one of the most reputable commenters, he says the Trout rumors seem like nonsense, not a super reputable source from what I've heard. Yeah, I've actually heard it from some pretty reputable sources that I can't name, honestly, but also I've heard it from sources that are in on every single, it's like, hey, we might do this. So, yeah, it probably will turn out to be nonsense, but I think it's not necessarily, how this goes, Coach. And by the way, I need your back here, Coach. Mr. Seabad says that Artie Moreno hates the Dodgers as much as Casey hates OU. That is not possible. That's not possible. Nobody can hate any other team more than I hate OU.
I know. That's really getting out there. That's a lot of hate right there.
Coach, you got my back, right? Is that possible?
I got your back, man. I got you for years and years.
I grew up in Stillwater, so did you. Well, you didn't grow up, but you. Okay,
close enough. Guthrie and Stillwater.
I had no chance, did I?
Yeah, my whole family is Oklahoma State graduates. I was the last one of 5, and there ain't no way I was going to be out of it. So no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So the Mike Trout deal, not buying that. Probably that's where the lobby's at here. I'm probably with that as well. That's a pretty far stretch, but that is to say that I think that sets the tone for the fact that the Dodgers are they're at least thinking big in this offseason.
Oh, they're totally. We've talked about that. There's no plan for the Dodgers. This World Series or bust, and that's what it should be. That's what we want them to be. No, they're going big. I mean, Ohtani is the biggest name out there. I understand he won't pitch till 2025. But what a bat in the lineup. And if he is able to come back and pitch, you got that. And Trout, we've all been saying, and just when he's there, the bad thing for him, he's been injured a lot. But when he's there, he's one of the greatest players in baseball. He's never been in the playoffs. He's never really. He hadn't finished the season late, as far as I know. I hate saying that. I don't know, have it all in front of me. I know he's been injured a lot. But what a great player. And when you're throwing those names out there, first of all, the Dodgers are really serious about the offseason, which we knew they would be.
That's kind of what I get out of it, yeah.
That's the way it should be, and I'm glad they're that way. And, that's the way we want them. But, on the other hand, as we talked earlier last week, and you hate to think about some of those young stars that you're going to have to give up. But, it's the nature of the business. Something's going to have to give to get those people like that.
Good evening, Scott. Good evening, Mr. Seabad. Good evening, Craig. Good evening, Mike. Mike says Trout to Dodgers gaining momentum. I've heard it from some sources that have been right on a lot of things, and they would have the inside contacts to know that, hey, this actually is something. Usually what happens with this, Coach, this as well as anybody, that the people within the system, they will leak it to the right person, and just to kind of get the narrative out there, just to see how the narrative plays, and then they actually do kind of, want to, after they see how the narrative goes, then they can either make it public or not based on how they think it's going to work. That actually happens quite a bit.
Yeah, and you can always deny it later, and
Correct.
you don't look like you're lying or you're stupid or both. In some cases, in my case, I've been both in situations, but so, but yeah, you can kind of throw it out there and test the waters, and however you want to call it. And well, what a great thing! I mean, and Mike Trout would be loving the fact. I don't know the guy personally, but I know he's a great baseball player. And, hey, him and Ohtani, you guys don't have to move, man. You just keep the house you got and come over here and play for another team with a different color. That'd be awesome. But that was something I kind of took me by surprise. Case I know we had talked about Ohtani some last week, but when Trout's name popped up, you're thinking, man, there'll be a lot of moving parts in that. Me not knowing how that all works, I know those are big time moves there. There's going to be a lot of moving parts, and the Dodgers are going to have to give up something. But again, they're playing for the next game, the next season. They're not playing five. You don't have a 5-year plan. Dave Roberts, nobody has a 5-year plan in the big leagues or the NFL, because you'll get fired in one if you don't have something going. So, they're ready. They're going for now.
Good evening to the Damano, Trout, and Ohtani to the Dodgers. It'd be insane. The area around Angel Stadium would look like downtown Philly the year they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, Jay says the Trout rumor seems like nonsense, not a super reputable source from what I've heard. Mr. Seabat, yeah, we already covered that comment. Mike, good evening, Mike. Thanks for joining Friday night. That was a super amount of fun. Mike did a wonderful job on our live Friday night, bringing us all the information on the international players, and he has, he's kind of a West Coast connection there, so he knows all about Rancho and all that. So good evening, Mike. Mike says he's not buying the Mike Trout trade. Dodgers need to seal the deal with Yamamoto and Imanaga. Hey, if you need anything about any of the international prospects, Mike is your man, no doubt about it. He has been watching and studying these international guys. He can tell you their ERAs. He can tell you their velos. He can tell you their size. He can tell you all about their durability. And he can also explain to you, hey, I was playing devil's advocate with him. I was playing it pretty hard with him the other night, his first time on. And, hey, he stood right in there and he explained why he thought these guys would be successful major leaguers. So super proud of him for that. I thought he did a wonderful job bringing us, there's, how it goes, Coach. We kind of stay in our own lane in the sense that we kind of feel like we have so much to worry about with our own club. It's like sometimes you don't even pay attention to the other people, right? So it's right. like I've got 4 affiliates, the AAA, AA, high A, single A, and then the big Dodgers. I was talking to Alex Friedman today, going to release that this week, and he's like, you know what? I don't get a chance to see the Major League club like I would because I'm so busy with the AAA club, So a lot of times my biggest weaknesses are all the players on the other team. I'm not real good with that. So, talking about Austin and Jay and Sean and Mike and the Damano and Mr. Seabat, all these guys, they do a great job really of helping me in that aspect. So that's a wonderful thing there. And Mike just did a wonderful job Friday night. The Damano says I met Tommy Lasorda a few years ago at a Loons game. Yeah, very cool. Tommy Lasorda actually came to Oklahoma City in 2015 whenever they had the first game when Oklahoma City the first year that the Dodgers came here. Ela Shiva, good evening. Ela Shiva is an awesome poster, Coach. You'll grow to love this community. I assume this is a ploy to increase the demand and price for Trout for a non-Dodgers team. No to the Dodgers for Trout. Okay, so before we go on, good evening, Craig. I want to say good evening to you. And Jace, thank you so much again for joining. So here is the theoretical, the hypothetical. We're not going to talk about Mike Trout all night. We are going to talk about all of the outfield free agents that I think that would be the number one targets for the Dodgers. We'll get into them here in just a minute. What would you give up for Mike Trout? I want to hear from the lobby. What exactly prospect-wise, from what the source that I heard it from said the Dodgers are willing to give up all of their best prospects. Now, when you say all, I think that excludes Bobby Miller, but that means everybody else. So what would you be willing to give up for Mike Trout?
If you're asking me, if you're saying what would I want the Dodgers give up for Mike Trout?
What would you give up, first of all, Coach, and then what do you think the Dodgers would give up?
I wouldn't give up those prospects. What I said before, Casey, where's he at? Where's he at as far as is his injuries? There's something going on here where the guy don't ever finish a year. Yeah. He's a great. There's no doubt of the talent of the guy and the heart to play the game. You love watching him play, but now if you're talking about Ohtani and Trout, you're going to give up the farm. I don't think there's any doubt about it. You're talking about two different animals.
You're going to give up every single player in your minor league system.
If I'm the general manager and they're approaching me to give up everybody for Trout, I don't know that I would do it. Maybe
Trout is 32 years old.
He's 32 years old, and he's hurt all the time.
31, if you look at the statistics, 31, 32, that age, that's right when it really starts declining. When you look at the top 10, 15 in almost every offensive category. Now, there are exceptions like Freddie Freeman and guys like that. But by rule, that 31, 32 is where you really start seeing guys not being in those top 10, lists as far as the offensive statistics in baseball.
And you got those current guys right now on other teams that we've seen that were MVP candidates before, and they're still big leaguers, they're still major league players, but they're not on that same level. I'm not, if me personally, I wouldn't give up everything for Mike Trout. Like I said, when you're talking about Ohtani, that's a different deal. You're going to have to give something up for him. Now, hey, we've got a deal for you. We'll give you both. You can have both of them. Well, okay, we're going to have to give up something.
Yeah.
But if it's just straight up for Mike Trout, I'm not going to give up a whole lot. Now, if you're talking about Andrew Friedman and the brass, I can't get in their head. They've got a lot of great prospects to pick from. Some guys that me and you and everybody else that's a Dodger fan would hate to see go.
Yeah.
But
well, the thing about it is,
I'm not ready to do that.
Here's the problem the Dodgers have with a guy like Trout. You already lead the league in attendance, so you don't need a name like Trout to come over to attract people to your stadium, correct? As you said, he has basically no playoff experience. So you're going to get, whenever you go get guys, you need to get guys that you really feel like have Ohtani's an obvious, don't get me wrong there, but you need to get guys that have proven track records in the postseason, in my opinion. That's another reason why the DavidPeralta thing last year was a complete head scratcher to me. I mean, he just, the track record in the postseason was not there. So, you're not getting a guy that has proven it in the postseason. We saw even with Barry Bonds, one of the greatest hitters of all time. Sometimes the postseason can even be too big of a stage for guys like that. Now, you wouldn't think it would be, but you still don't have the exact evidence and proof to show that. Okay, so you don't need you don't need the big bang for the attendance. The only reason you go get a player if you're the Dodgers right now is because you think they move the needle to win a World Series. Now, if you think, okay, so let's say that you take the next 5 years. Okay, let's say your goal is to win 2 World Series in the next 5 years. If you think Mike Trout gives your organization a better chance to win 2 World Series in the next 5 years, then the 8 prospects you're going to have to give up, you do it, okay? But you're going to have to give up Ryan Pepio, Emmett Sheehan, Kevin Stone, Jose Ramos, probably then probably one of your catchers. It's probably going to be Dalton Rushing, so it's going to be very pricey. And then, you don't know the length of I guess you would know the length. I don't know his exact contract numbers off the top of my head. I'll look them up here in a minute. Okay. It sounds great. I'm with you, Coach. Wow. Oh, cool. And then you kind of sit down and you think about it and you're like, boy, there's a lot of obstacles here. A lot of obstacles.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week, even with the Pujols deal. That's why the Cardinal fans weren't mad at the brass up there because they offered him more money.
Yes.
He wanted more years with the Angels, and it didn't work. He wasn't productive later on in the years. The Cardinals were right on that. He's a great guy, a great community guy. From all we can see, then Mike Trout's a great guy. But like you said, Casey, we don't need a name to fill the stands. We don't need a name to help us win the division. We don't need that guy. We've got what we need there. Go get Jose Altuve, even though I can't stand the Astros, and probably not him when it comes right down to it. He's a great player. If he comes up, you're going to have to float the farm to him. But that's not going to happen. They're going to sign him forever. I'm just using that as an example.
Sure, understood. Who you got that type of brand.
That guy who's hit more playoff home runs than even Reggie Jackson or whoever. I don't know what he's done, but anyway, it's crazy. You got to get that guy. But there's a lot of unproven stuff here. With Trout and you got some young kids here who are just on the verge. Pitchers and position players are just on the verge. A bunch of them. I was watching some videos that you had forwarded to me. These kids
are good, aren't they?
They're ready. Well, you see them in spring training games. They're facing big league pitching, and they're getting their stuff in. So they're right there. And we don't know who the next great ones are going to be there. We all love Mookie and Freddie. We got what we need there. The great players, and I think we all know the number one deal is going to be pitching for the Dodgers. I mean, it sounds great to get Ohtani, but he's not pitching next year. It sounds great to get Trout, but he's not a pitcher either.
So did you move the needle for next year?
No, I don't think you do. No, I don't think you do because, I mean, how many great hitters? I mean, Ohtani. I mean, they've got to pitch to somebody. Of course, big leaguers not like me and you in high school. I'm going to walk him every time because I don't want him to beat me, and I don't want people to understand I'm trying to win. But anyway, big leaguers can't do that because everybody can hit, especially when you got Mookie and Freddie and Ohtani and Will Smith and all those people and Muncy in the same lineup. You have nothing you can do about it. But are you ready to play? Like we said, they're coaching for next year. They're everything they're doing is for next season. Nothing beyond that at all. So what do you got to do to win next year? I'm not ready to do that with Trout, just that position myself.
Well, here's the deal. Freddie's not getting younger. Mookie's not getting younger.
Yep.
You got to think next year. Next year. I think you hit that exact nail on the head. Not 5 years from now, next year. And I've said this a lot, and I'm not a prospect hugger because in the sense that I don't want the Dodgers to hold on to all these guys. I want them to trade. Mark Washington, I was communicating with him, and the one comment, I know he's very strong in his faith, and the one comment I made to him was, he said, God willing, I'll sign with another team somewhere. My statement to him was, hey, God shines on people like you. He just does. It doesn't always seem like he's going to, and I don't want to get into that aspect.
Sure.
Just kind of the what I mean by that is the guys that work really hard seem to make their own luck, if that makes sense. And so, I'm not a guy that wants a Mark Washington to stay with the Dodgers just so we can have him and know that he's never going to make the major leagues. I would rather Mark Washington go to another team that might actually put him on the major league roster and give him major league innings. So I'm definitely not a prospect, not a prospect hugger from that perspective. So I've always said, Coach, if you win a World Series, it doesn't matter how many prospects you traded away. It doesn't, because as much as I cover prospects, they're like money, Coach. Okay? Yep. You can always make more money. You can always go draft and develop more prospects. Once you win a World Series, we know that with our state title, Coach. Yeah. Once you win that, cross that line, you can't take that away. You know what I mean? So if you think something, a person or whatever is going to help you win a World Series and you think that's the missing ingredient, you trade every single prospect that you have in your system to go do it and win that World Series, even if it's only one World Series. If it's only one World Series, it's worth almost every prospect in my opinion. Because again, the Dodgers have the best draft system, the best scouts. Just, hey man, Tom Kunis, the guy that drafted James Albin, that dude's a stud. Hey, Jonah Rosenberg, I talked to Peyton Martin Friday evening, and I'm going to release his interview next week, who drafted both Jake Pilarski, out of independent ball, and Peyton Martin out of the 17th round, and he's 19 years old, hitting 98 miles an hour. Okay, that dude's a stud. Tom Kunis, Rosenthal, Jonah Rosenthal, those guys aren't going to stop finding great talent for the Dodgers. Okay, Dave Anderson, Duran Olinger, Ryan Dent, these guys aren't going to stop being elite coaches at the minor league level, right? Okay, Rob Hill, the minor league. So the prospect system in the Dodgers farm system is always going to be elite. So you trade your prospects to win a World Series. Period. End of discussion. My only side of that, and I know I'm kind of getting on a rant here. I apologize for that. Sometimes I go on tangents like this. My only issue is you have so many guys that are major league ready right now.
Yep.
You got to make a decision on those guys. What are you going to do with River Ryan? What are you going to do with Michael Busch? What are you going to do with Miguel Vargas? What are you going to do with Drew Avens? What are you going to do with Ryan Ward? What are you going to do with Hunter Fiducia? You got to make up your mind right now. Either trade him or play him. Go get who you need to go get because it's time the Dodgers win a damn World Series. I'm tired of not winning one.
It's like I ended up texting you the name this last week, and I was telling about the kid, the Tulsa kid. And I finally found his name and sent it to you, Timmy LaCastro.
Oh, LaCastro, yes.
That's the one I texted you. Timmy, my brother-in-law has his favorite
Timmy
player.
Lowe. Yeah.
Timmy LeCastro, his dad and mom and the aunt sat right behind us one night. Wonderful people. They came down from
Like from New York or something like that.
Yeah, New York. And then he goes up there. He's the one that's got the shoes in the Hall of Fame. He stole, I didn't see it, 36 straight bases to start his career, set a major league record. So I don't know if he's even in the game now, but I had to look it up. It's bothered me. But it's Timmy LeCastro, but the same deal. The Dodgers trade him. He goes to the big leagues. It's like you're just saying right now. There's some kids right now that are sitting behind Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. They're ready to play in the big leagues. They were behind Will Smith.
Yeah, right.
They're possibly ready to pitch in big leagues. We got some pitchers that are ready to pitch in the big leagues. So it's like you said, you got to do something. And you want those because you have a relationship with those guys. You've talked to them on the interview. You want what's best for them. Yeah, the Dodgers. I want to win a World Series. All of us that are Dodger fans want to win a World Series. But you don't want, some kid who's sitting there going, I'm a first baseman behind Freddie Freeman. I ain't ever coming up.
Justin Yurchak. Yeah, I'm so glad he signed a free agent.
Go somewhere else, man.
I'm so glad he's a free agent. He was never going to play for the Dodgers.
Absolutely.
Emmanuel Vargas, he's another one. Yeah.
It's like being the backup quarterback, for Aaron Rodgers or somebody. You ain't ever getting in. Well, he's getting over that or something. Yeah.
Who was the guy from Texas Tech that was a backup quarterback and he had gone 6 years and never played in a game? Finally had to go in a game and threw 8 interceptions and had to admit that he didn't even pay attention in the meetings. He got fired. He's like, damn, I wish I could have been the backup quarterback forever.
Yeah, I used to always say I'd walk around with a ball cap on, the clipboard,
yeah,
like I was getting paid millions of dollars. My favorite being a Dallas Cowboy fan, and this guy was around forever. Then he finally got to play, and I was like, he's not very good. It's Babe Loffenberg. I mean, he's like I shouldn't, he's better than I'll ever be.
Oh, the old Babe.
Oh, baby, he never played any. The Cowboys quarterback, maybe an Aikman got hurt.
You listen to him talk. He was an all-star.
Yeah, I beg to differ. But anyway.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. But you know what? He had a long NFL career.
He did.
So he was good. He was good enough to be there. So I'm not going to question the guy. He's an
You're
NFL
a way bigger
quarterback.
Cowboys fan than I am. So I'm going to default to you on this one.
He's an NFL quarterback, and I'm not. So I'm not sitting there getting in a pissing match with him over that deal. But when he finally played, he's like, oh, he's, next thing you know, he's in a broadcasting booth. So that's kind of how that works. But
he went from backup quarterback to being in the booth, and he's like a multimillionaire. What a dude, man. Smartest human being on earth.
And I follow him some around Dallas, being a Dallas fan. He's a good broadcaster, and probably, I hear a great guy. I'm not cutting the guy down, but I'm just using an example. It's time to play. It's time to play, whatever. But I don't know. You like to see these kids, and the Dodgers have. But historically, Casey, even before, even as long as I can remember, the Dodgers have a great farm system. They've always been known, even back the old Dodger Town days of Vero Beach, and they were scouting like you said, our foreign players probably long before anybody else was. The Royals kind of come in with their academy they had and started doing some of that stuff too. But the Dodgers were always the trendsetter on that stuff. Let's go. I mean. Heck, what the heck, Jackie Robinson? That's a Dodger deal.
Yeah.
You can go that far back to where the Dodgers were always, on the cutting edge.
It ain't going away.
It ain't going away. We're going back to as far as Jackie Robinson, with Branch Rickey, it ain't changing.
If you're worried about dumping and depleting the minor league system, don't.
It ain't happening.
Nope. Trade them all away. You'll replenish them. It's like my grandpa. You remember my grandma and grandpa, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
My grandpa was the smartest human being I ever met in my life.
Yep.
Had a 6th grade education. He could tell you how many counties were in every state, in 77 counties in Oklahoma, by the way. I know that because of him. And he would always say, hey, you know what, rich dudes, you could take all their money away from them. He said within 5 years, they'll have it all back.
Yep.
He goes, they figured out how to get it the first time. They'll figure out how to get it again. That's the Dodgers with their minor league system. Hey, nobody covers and gets more attached to the minor. Maybe Alex Friedman, who I talked today, because he talks to him more than I do, obviously. Sure. But nobody is more attached to these guys than I am. Nobody's more attached to the Dodgers minor league system than I am. And again, trade them all to win a World Series.
That's right.
There's only one reason why you do this, Coach. There is literally only one reason why you even have a major league club, and that is to win a World Series. So do it. Okay, here's another thing that Mike brings up too. I'm getting kind of heated up tonight. I need to calm down a little bit, Coach. When we start talking about the Dodgers getting beat in the first round of the playoffs, I guess I'm not over it, man. I need to flush that crap and move on, but I just haven't done it.
It's hard to get over. It's hard to get over.
Somebody just needs to kick me in the face or something and just say, hey, move on, right? Okay, so this is a great point from Mike. Okay, and of course, we're fat and old now, right? Or at least I'm going to speak for myself. Okay, but
I'm bald. You're not bald, but go ahead.
oh
Yeah.
yes, I'm very bald.
And
Why do you
fat
think I
bald.
wear a hat every time, right? Okay, not as bald as my dad, but pretty bald, right?
That's
okay.
true. That's true.
So, have you ever known anybody who had back problems who actually got them fixed?
No.
I haven't. I've probably known 100 people in my life. Hey, guys who were firemen, guys who were in just tremendous policemen in the military in great shape. Gary Ward, Larry Bird.
Yep.
When did they get over their back problems? I
don't know they ever did. They always say, I've always been told, don't ever let, if you can avoid back surgery.
Yes.
And sometimes I guess you can't. I've never got that point. Don't do it. But a lot of, there's probably a few that have come out of it, but I'm like you. Most of the people I know that had it still have back problems to this day. Yeah. And some even worse.
That's a major concern, is it not?
As we get older, my back hurts more now than it did 15 years ago. I mean, I get it, but, it is a concern. Yes.
Just kind of going to what you're talking about. I mean,
yep.
And it's kind of like, you hear this all the time that maybe at 80% Mike Trout is better than 100% anybody else. Maybe. I'm just telling you right now, man, Johnny Lucas is pretty damn good. I mean, that guy can hit 20 home runs. He can steal 30 bases. It'd be a 20
left-handed hitter. Yep.
You're going to have two 20-20 guys in your outfield at some point. James Outman will hit 20 home runs and steal 20 bases in a season if he stays healthy. Johnny DeLuca will do the same thing if he plays. Now, here's the question for me, okay? What we've talked, and we're going to get to the rest of the free agent guys, outfielders. We're going to talk outfielders today, and here's why we're going to talk outfielders today, Coach. My brain is so linear. I think the way that you go about this, if you're the Dodgers, is you look for the outfielders first. Because I think if you can go find a Mike Trout or an outfielder that you think moves the needle towards the World Series, then you can move Mookie Betts to second base.
Yep.
Which I think I'm weird. I think honestly second base would be less taxing on his body. Yeah. Because I think it's a smaller window to run in. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're having to deal with double plays and that kind of, but to a Mookie Betts type athlete, I think second base is going to be less taxing on his body. And also, I think it's easier to find an outfielder that can be the type of offensive player the Dodgers are wanting to put in their lineup to move the needle. So I think you go look for outfielders first. So we are going to, the way we're doing this is we're going to talk about the outfield free agent people, the outfield free agents that I think the Dodgers might go after, and we'll talk all about them. We'll get into them here in a minute, but what do you think? I'd like to hear from the lobby too. What do you think about Mookie Betts being the everyday second baseman for the Dodgers next year?
I think it's what I told you. Told you last week. If we suck in right field, no. You know what I mean on the form of suck. Are you going to get a right fielder as good as Mookie Betts? I'd hope so. Why you
well,
can't
nobody's as good as Mookie Betts.
That's what I'm saying.
But are you going to? But you're putting a second baseman, and you're filling one of your spots at second base with an elite player too.
Yeah, exactly. So I would love to see him play second base. I mean, but I also want to be good. I don't want to have an average right fielder guy, whatever. And I don't see the Dodgers doing that anyway.
Does Hayward move the needle for you? Do you bring him back?
I don't think, not to me, or they'd have done it this year. I mean, wouldn't they? I mean, I think they'd already made that move if they were going to with him, but that's just me. Not being in those meetings.
Yeah. I'm looking for somebody who's dynamic. I asked this question. You can go to my interview with Dylan Nishotka, who was the hitting coach for Great Lakes last year, hitting coach for Rancho Cucamonga this year. Coach, watch that interview, seriously. You'll fall in love with the way this guy does business with you. You would say, hey, man, you can tell this guy's going to be a rock star, right? Okay, so I point blank asked him, I'm going to ask you this question. I asked him, hey, the buzz term going around is you want players that are dynamic. What does it mean to be dynamic as an offensive player? And his answer was really cool. What would your definition of a dynamic offensive player be?
I'm a guy that can move runners, on base percentage. I don't get into Billy Ball, but I'm just saying, get on base, move runners, a dynamic offensive player. It doesn't necessarily have to be a home run hitter. I want a run producer. Either he's scoring them or he's moving runners around, hitting for average. He can steal some bases. To me, there's a lot of concepts there. A lot of guys can just bang. They can't hit.
Yes.
Doesn't hit for average. They'll get a few RBIs, but they're not necessarily moving. To me, again, from an old high school American Legion coach, I want a guy who can move runners. Want him to hit for average and steal some bags for me. To me, that's a dynamic offensive player. Home runs are great, and I know the big leagues, that's what it's all about. I get it, but you determine how you want to move runners. If you want to hit it all ballpark, move runners, fine. I'll take a guy who hits doubles and singles all day. Freddie Freeman doesn't do too bad. He can do both. He can hit all the ballpark, and he can double you to death. So I like that too. He's a dynamic offensive player, whether he hits it out of the park or not, in my opinion.
Going to simplify this for you, Coach, and you've been around major leaguers. Like I said, you have 25 major leaguers in your phone right now that you could call and say, hey, we have this issue with our hitters. How would you approach this, right? I mean, you have guys that Matt Holliday's one that he brought in. I can't remember who the major leaguer was he brought into it. He brought in Cody Bellinger last year, and actually he is the one giving credit. You know, Matt Holliday actually brought Cody Bellinger into Stillwater last year in the offseason, and he hit at Oklahoma State's facilities and worked with Matt. And that's a large reason why Cody Bellinger fixed his swing. He will give credit to Matt Holliday and the time he spent in Stillwater, you know. So, you know, you're around major leaguers. You coach for a guy that was a Division I head baseball coach in Marty Lee. So, man, you know all about the high-level experience of baseball. I'm going to simplify what dynamic means, Coach. And when Dylan said it, it just made so much sense, right? Okay, it is a hitter that advances the ball forward. That literally is a dynamic baseball player.
Yep.
He's hitting the ball forward. You know, he's putting the ball in play.
Yep.
You know, he's not striking out. He doesn't make sense. He's not always walk. He's not, you know, of the 2 of the 3 true outcomes, he's not necessarily that guy. He's advancing the ball forward.
See, that's what we do at high school. I've always been big, a 2-strike approach. You go talk to I'm sure big leaguers don't even talk about that. I'm not
they don't
a big
get
league
paid
manager.
for a 2-strike approach.
They don't get paid for a 2-strike approach. I do on the high school level because I need my kid hitting 240 to put the ball in play, or as he said, hit the ball forward.
Yeah,
we're going to get wide. We're going to get up on the plate. We're going to shorten up. We're going to do whatever. I got to foul off into the first base dugout to stay alive. I'm going to do that. Big leaguers don't think that way. Mm-hmm. I like that definition. That is plain and simple. In the shorter terms about me being diarrhea of the mouth, like I usually am, he put it in short terms. Hit the ball that way.
Advance the ball.
Advance the ball. Hit it that way. I like it.
Yeah, I loved it. And it's like you know, those high level coaches, you know, like guys like me, I want to make everything complicated, right? Like I think I'm neat or something.
I'm not smart enough to do that, so I can't.
Yeah, and it's like then you hear a guy like that talk, and you're like, okay, this guy's 7,000 times smarter than I am, and he just simplified things in one sentence. It's like I was very impressed with that. Plus, he also came up with the analogy of the big gulp. You know, hey, if you have big gulp talent, don't be okay with just giving 12-ounce, production. You know, try to be that big gulp. Branch out. Don't worry about making mistakes. You know, try to figure out just how much talent you have. Okay, so let's get back to some of our talk here. It's been a fantastic lobby already. Okay, Mike Trout will request a trade. This is coming from Scott to the Phillies, but the Angels need a good package for him, and they want to leak Dodger interest to up the price and leverage from other teams. No doubt, and I think that's probably a pretty good way to put it, because if you think about it, there is no better team to leverage than the Dodgers because they do have all the prospect capital.
It's hard to say the Phillies have that type of capital. I don't know, but like you said, he's a Philly guy.
And I wouldn't know because they're not our AA teams don't play them or AAA team. No, literally from low A all the way up, we don't play the Phillies affiliate. So
we used to have them. We used to be able to keep it on better in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
I'm like you. We don't. I'm not familiar with him at all. I know he's a Philly guy. You know, if he wants to go to the Phillies, they tell the Phillies to pull the trigger on that deal. You know, if they have to. You know, I wish
he's from New Jersey, isn't he?
Wish we'd have. Yeah, I think so. I wish we'd have kept their shortstop they got up there. And I wish we still had him.
Trey.
Yeah, Trey.
He didn't do much for me.
He
wasn't gritty enough.
Struggled.
I don't know.
He struggled. Yeah, you're right. He's either gritty or pretty. I think I had a wise man tell me that today.
Hey, you can be both, but I know that you got to be gritty first.
You got to be gritty first in baseball if you're going to be any good at it. You're absolutely correct. Gritty's good in baseball. You got to get down. It's kind of like a good offensive lineman. Yeah. You know, they're not very pretty anyway, but they dang sure better be gritty. They're not going to be very good at it. Defensive lineman too.
Artie Moreno is the problem with the Angels. Yeah. You know, when you have an organization that struggles like that and you can't figure out why, usually there's, you know, and I know you love the Cowboys, and Jerry Jones does a good job of making everybody think they're going to win the World Series, the Super Bowl every year, and then lose in the playoffs, usually first round.
Here's me. I'm a Dodger fan, same way. About
Yeah.
the same time I started loving the Dodgers. I grew up in southern Oklahoma around the Red River, so Dallas Cowboys all the way. But I get tired of it too. I get tired of the off season. Get stuff on my phone because I'll follow them like I do the Dodgers. Hey, the Cowboys may do this, or the Cowboys may do that, or Jones says they're ready for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl contender, I'm thinking, just quit talking. It's like we're talking about the Dodgers. I'm tired of hearing about it. Do something, make your move, do whatever you got to do. I personally think, here's my take on him. I think he's a great owner because it doesn't matter. Money is not an object, obviously. Whatever they need to be successful. Here's what whatever they need to be successful as an owner, he's going to throw the money out there. I don't, him and his son being general managers or player personnel guys, that's my only issue. I wish
they have money, but they don't have like an actual strategy.
Well, I wish they had somebody doing player personnel and the general manager. It's him and his son. I don't even know what his son's background is. I know he's the son of a billionaire, so that helps. But I'm just saying, get football people in there, quote unquote, whoever that may be. And that's I go back to this, Casey. He's the one that drafted Quincy Carter, a quarterback out of Georgia. I can't get over that one. That was several years ago. The guy was under 50% in college, and he was their number one draft pick. I can't get over that one. Every year we lose, I'm going, hey, this is the same guy that drafted Quincy Carter. Right. So, and he's wanting Johnny Manziel. I can't get
over the fact that Dodgers can't get out of the first round of the freaking playoffs.
He's wanting Johnny Manziel. They say his son talked him out of that one.
Yeah.
So I think he's a great, maybe probably the best owner in sports but the football end of it lacks. I think that's all. That's a doubt. That's me being a fan again, not knowing what goes on there, but being a fan.
Like Austin. Austin knows all the numbers. He's heavy into the sabermetrics. He's heavy into the advanced metrics, right? Which is awesome. I love to hear it. And then Austin does a just ridiculously great job of explaining that stuff to guys like me that didn't grow up with that. My first reaction is, oh, screw that stuff. But, it's get out of here with that. That's my first reaction. You know what I'm saying, Coach, having not grown up with that. And then I hear Austin explain, I'm like, well, damn, that makes sense. Well, yeah, okay. Well, yeah. Well, cool. Then you swing to the other end like, well, hell, why doesn't everybody just put together a formula and try to make players out of this formula and fill it? You're right. And then you're going, well, no, you can't. So kind of my point is here, having a guy, what you need in your war room, right, is a guy like Austin that can throw out the WRC pluses and the WAR and to be the guy that can really crunch numbers and evaluate data. Then you need the guy like you that's like, hey, wait a minute, guys. This is all you can throw all the numbers you want out of me. That's fine. I'm telling you, this is what I see. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? And then you throw all of these different styles of evaluation together. And I think at the end of the day, you come up with the most balanced decision. And that's literally exactly how the Dodgers make every single decision they have.
Yeah. And that's an awesome way of doing it. You got to have both. I want those analytics.
That's why I'm trying to build Dodgers Daily like this, where you get literally the exact same type of war room the Dodgers get every day.
Yeah, I mean, you got analytics. That's great. I've traced it back. Coaching football, there's a highly successful program around the Tulsa area. They had their highly respected coach was talking to a Division I coach, and I was relayed this story by another guy. He said he finally looked at him. They had a kid who was like 6'5", 255, run a 4.7. Wasn't even starting for him because he wouldn't hit him. He's like pillified out there. Wouldn't hit anybody. But these guys want to sign him. They just kept on him. He went to this camp and he ran a 4.7 and he bench pressed 200. The old deal, the showcase babies, it was called in baseball. Yeah, right. They look good in the batting cage and look everything until the game starts. But anyway, and the high school coach looked at him and said, the problem is you guys think you're better coaches than we are. Yeah. In other words, this kid can't play. Yeah. I'm telling you, he can't play. Yeah. All the numbers you're looking at, the eye test and the 40-yard dash and the bench press says he can. I'm telling you, he can't.
There has to come a time where that trumps.
Yes. I'm telling you, I'm with him every day. He's not a bad kid. I'm not trying to hurt him. I'm just telling you, I'm going to be honest with you, that kid can't play. And they took him anyway. And he sat on a bench down there for 4 years. I know exactly where he went because I knew the whole story. Never got on the field down there. Back up linebacker, back up fullback, back up everything because he wasn't good enough to get on the field. So, it kind of goes back the same thing. it's great to have those analytics now. You could probably, I'm sure they have a computer could print out their lineup cards. Maybe they're doing it now. I don't know. Maybe here's your lineup for today based off analytics.
I know the managers in the minor league system.
Yeah.
You know Scott Hennessy.
Yeah.
You know Scott Hennessy, Coach.
Yes.
He's not making a lineup on a computer.
No, but I'm saying they could. If you went strictly on analytics, here's who they're pitching today. Here, blah blah blah. You got his analytics. Here's our lineup for today, Coach. Here you go. Wouldn't you? I don't know if that ever happens, but could they do that? They could, but no, Scott Hennessy ain't doing it. That's the only one.
But what I'm saying is that the Dodgers need to know how good Jose Ramos is. They're going to look at all the data in the advanced analytics like they should. The WAR, the WRC plus, the K percentage. They're gonna compare the K percentage to the ISO. They're going to do all that, which they should. And then they're going to go up to Henny, that personally. He drafted your nephew. I mean, your nephew was going to go on a full scholarship to play for him.
Yep.
Right in the early 90s.
Yep.
Or I believe, yeah.
And Grant did play for him.
Yeah, Grant. No, Grant's with Brad. Brad actually was before Henny went to Cali.
Right.
Grant was with. So you literally knew Scott Hennessy, the AA manager, in 1997, right?
Yep.
You guys could walk up and drink a beer together and have a hell of a good time, right? Okay, so they're going to put all their advanced analytics down on Jose Ramos. Then they're going to walk up to Henny and go, Henny, give me the eyeball. Yeah. And he's going to sit there for 10 or 15 minutes, and they're going to get Henny with the eyeball, and then they're going to put together their complete and total evaluative system on Jose Ramos. And then that's going to determine whether they want to trade him, whether he's a major league prospect in their system, or what to do with him. And by the way, the Dodgers are the absolute best at this. I tell people this all the time. The reason why the trade market is so good for the Dodgers is because they know their prospects way better than any other club knows their prospects.
Yep.
Right? They are not going to lose very many trades because, like I said, they're going to know the people that they are trading away way better than the people. Just think of the Mitch Whites and all the guys that they've traded, even like the Jeter Downs guys that you're going, ooh. And even the catcher, Keibert Ruiz, who he's a major leaguer, yeah, but they just really, they've made almost every right decision on the trade. They did take a chance on Joey Gallo. They gave away Clayton Beeter, who was just put on the Yankees 40-man. I actually congratulated Clayton yesterday on making the 40-man. He's super pumped about that. I think the Dodgers lost that trade, but it was more of a, hey, let's throw a Hail Mary there to see if Joey Gallo could get hot for a month. And again, help us win a World Series. So I had zero problem with that. Let's get back to some comments here, and then we're going to get into some of our – I know I'm dominating the talk tonight. I got fired up about the Dodgers playoff deal, so I apologize for that. Okay, so Joe, good evening, Joe. Thank you so much. Let me remind you that the GoFundMe, the link to that is at the top. We've already had a nice donation this evening, so super thanks to that. Trying to raise a couple $1,000s to send us all to spring training and have a good time there. So
you
Joe,
say it's all. Am I included in that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Hey, I'm coaching baseball down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that week, so there's spring training week or spring break.
Well, that's 2 weeks long, so
okay, maybe I'll go.
Actually, it's about a month, so
maybe Marty will let me off to go.
I'll bet he would. Okay.
He might go with us.
I'll talk to him personally for you, right?
Yeah, he may go with us.
Yeah, we sent him Jacob, so he's pretty happy with Guthrie. So
yes,
all right.
He is.
Joe says they will not have to give up that much for Trout. He has owed too much over the next 7 years. In order for Artie to sell the Angels, he really needs to shed them long-term contract anchors. I say that all the time. Just mentioned it. The Dodgers are always going to have an elite farm system. Prospects are like money. You're going to develop new prospects. You're going to draft them. You're always going to, there's always going to be the next Dalton Rushing coming.
Yep.
They're always going to be, behind Dalton Rushing, there's Tyrone Lorenzo. There's always, Jose DePaul. There's always going to be that guy. So you're going, but again, the one thing that the Dodgers could not overcome is if they have too many long-term contracts. So that's a great point.
Yep. Yeah, and I can see with the Angels. I don't keep up with them. I'm assuming their attendance isn't very good, or not as good as it should be.
Not as good as the Dodgers.
The Dodgers right there in town. It's a big area. Yeah. I don't know. I assumed it would. Obviously, it wasn't as good, but yeah, that's because Ohtani's going to be worth whatever, half the world or whatever he's going to be worth. So you're going to still pay Trout. They may still be paying Pujols. I don't know how that deal, if that's even over with. And they may still be paying part of that 10-year deal they had with him. I don't know. But
are they paying Bobby Bonilla? It seems like everybody else is too, right?
That guy's the best, greatest contract in history.
Of all time.
Next to the coach at Texas A&M, who got $75 million to leave. Thank you. I'll see you later.
To not win any games.
Yeah, give me $75 million. I'll go out the door. Okay, I'll try. And they're going to pay him like $8 million a year till 2031.
Hey, what's the first thing you'd go buy if you had $75 million?
You know me. I'm pretty laid back. I probably go pay for my mom's house, pay for all the debts of my family, get those so they can all be happy. You don't have to worry about owning cars or houses. Yeah. Pay that all first, and then I don't know what I do.
And you know what I love about you, Coach?
Build Guthrie High School, a brand new stadium.
Yeah.
Build Stillwater High School, something. I mean, everywhere that means something to me to maybe try to give something back. Yeah.
You know what I love about you too? If you made $75 million, you'd still be volunteer coaching for Stillwater High School.
Yes, I would. It's a good job, man. I highly recommend it. Great place and great people. I mean, I'm getting old, Casey. You just gotta, whatever.
Check back with me on March 13th when it's 13 degrees outside.
Hey, it was too cold. It was 55 the other day with scrimmaging. I was whining, so I can only imagine
for that day in March.
Yeah, I know. That's what we said. Absolutely.
Hey,
I'm getting old. I get cold easy.
Let's get to some real talk here. Slicks or Old English?
I've gone Old English for. I'm not proud of it.
We need a vote. We need the lobby to break.
Yeah.
Are you going neither?
You're going to go natty lot too while you're in there? I mean, just pull them all out.
If that's Milwaukee's best, I sure as hell would hate to drink their worst. Holy shit.
I'm just glad Yingling's come to Oklahoma. That's awesome.
Hey, matter of fact, I saw that in a convenience store the other day. I am never going to see a Yingling ever again and not see Coach Holt's smiling face.
Hey, tell our California buddies they try those out. I know they got great beers out there, though. I know the Dodgers. I know what they sell. I know they got great beer out there too. I love those beers. But tell them try Yingling out if they get a chance for this part of the country.
If the Angels paid down Trout's contract, they might be able to get more for him. But with his contract as is, he will not command a huge haul of prospects. That's Joe. I think I just read that. Fernando, thank you for joining. Great comments. Trout trade isn't happening, folks. Yeah, Solbro. Hey, Solbro's awesome, Coach. You'll find with our lobby. As I say, it's growing, okay? Yeah, but we have the absolute best baseball fans.
They're all passionate Dodger fans. I love them already.
Well, they're just and they're passionate, Coach, but they're like us. I mean, they're just so intelligent, they see the big picture of things. It's just so awesome.
Maybe Trout's that guy who he's made all the money. I know I'm making a lot of money. I've done this and that. I've never been to the playoffs. I want to win a World Series. I can do that with the Dodgers. Maybe he's that guy. I don't know. I don't know the guy. Maybe he is. Maybe he said, I'll take less money, go do that. San Antonio Spurs did that for years. Yep. When David Robinson is making $10 million, when everybody else is making, or Tim Duncan are making $10 million, and everybody else is making 40, and they won all those titles. They all bought in and took less money to. You don't see that very often. Maybe Trout's like, I got enough money to last me a lifetime. I want to ring now. I don't know. I'm
Solbro's on lunch break.
Wishful thinking on my part. Oh, I like that. I like to eat all the time, man. I like his schedule.
Solbro, where are you located? Just curious. Or he may work, or he or she may work nights. I don't know. Solbro has amazing comments on here. I always love it when he or she, whoever it is, you can't tell, joins because the comments are incredible. Hey, and Fernando says, what's for lunch? Chimac? Is it Chimak? Chimac? I'm not very good with that kind of stuff. Okay, don't want no parts of Trout. That's what Hep C says.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I mean, we get great conversation here.
And I can see it all.
Say, oh, Mike Trout. Ooh, neat. Okay, let's actually sit down and think about it. I mean.
Exactly. There's some other names out there that I'd go crazy over, Hey, 5 years ago, it's like, do whatever you got to do, man. Get it. But,
Mike says Casey's on fire. Yeah, I tend to do that. You know me, Coach. I tend to get fired up. And when I do it takes a while for me to.
It's a good kind, though. It's a good. Thank God the Cowboys, the OSU Cowboys won yesterday. You'd really be.
Yeah, I was pretty fired up about midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, I know you were. So at least tell everybody out there that at least that didn't happen. So you're okay.
As soon as OSU starts losing, I have to take my phone and put it somewhere a long ways away from me because I'm going to embarrass myself. Right.
Well, you can relate to this because you were there. I told the players out here. Stillwater players of the day, they talk about it, being a jerk. And of course, Vinny's there. Vinny played for me and played with you. He's coaching with us.
Oh, Vinny.
He said that wasn't like the summer,
wasn't it?
He said it wasn't.
He was throwing a cutter before you may know what a cutter was.
Absolutely. He said, he said, no, nothing like the summer that Tone quit smoking. When I quit smoking, I wasn't very good to be around. I wasn't a very nice guy that summer. So I forgot about that. I remember Kelly Revis brought me a pack of cigarettes, told me to start again. He got tired of me yelling at everybody. So I know what fired up means. It's like the summer I quit smoking. And thank God I did. That's 1987, so it's over. Anyway.
Funny you say that. I dipped snuff for over 30 years and quit about 10 years ago.
Good man.
And it was the hardest thing I ever did.
Yep.
And if they tell me I have terminal illness, I'm going to go buy every can of Copenhagen that exists on Earth, and I'm going to dip till the day I die. That's how addictive that stuff is. It was terrible. That was bad to get over.
I think I'm through with cigarettes. Everybody's vaping now. I hear that's well, being a high school principal,
I'm a high school teacher. Don't get me started on vapes.
I've dealt with vapes enough. I think I'd smoke a banana peel back in the old days where I did vape. But
I'm probably wearing people out tonight, but hey, it is what it is. We're having a hell of a good time, right? Okay, am I the only one that's not just super pumped about Dylan Cease?
I am. Since you told me to do some research on him, I did some this afternoon. My Dallas Cowboys are winning big. They're playing another terrible team, so I got kind of bored watching that. So I'll start doing some. Cat's got a pretty good resume.
Okay,
so, I mean, better
so I'm wrong.
Thought. Go no. I mean, go. Are you on board with it? I guess is what I'm asking.
I'm not on board on it. I'm just not like.
No, I wouldn't be. It's not like Blake Snell. It's not Blake Snell-esque to me. If it's Blake Snell, I'd be.
I'm just not sold that he's better than Emmett Sheehan or Ryan Pepio or Nick Frasso or Landon Knack or River Ryan.
Well, we may get lucky enough, but I say lucky enough because he had a down year last year. He was the Cy Young.
I could be wrong.
Runner-up 2 years ago. I looked at the year before he was a Cy Young runner-up. He was 13-7, and high strikeout guy, and then he was 14-8. He was right behind Verlander and Cy Young. Had a down year last year. Quality major league starter. Like you said, how do we know Ryan Pepio is not going to be? I'm with you on that. That goes back to the same old thing. That's why those guys are making tons of money, make those personnel decisions. This guy's all, I think, they're not talking about injuries on him. We had Tommy John when he got signed, he had Tommy John, I think.
Which doesn't bother me.
No, not at all. That's a long time ago. He hadn't had any problems since. I know a little drop in velocity last year, a little issue. Is Ryan Pepio? Is he better than him? He's proven 2 years in a row. And also, we got to remember one thing: he's playing for the White Sox. I'm not on here to bash the White Sox, but they're not running the Dodgers.
But they have advanced metrics that take that into account, like xFIP, expected ERA, that kind of stuff. And that's where that stuff really pays off.
They do because they look at the defensive team the White Sox putting on the field and what the Dodgers put on the field. I did read that part too. That was figured in also. But you got to figure, you got a better defensive team behind you, better offensive, the numbers, some things you don't have. There's all kinds of stuff goes into the equation. Looks to me, Case, without doing a whole lot more research.
So you like it.
Listen, you heard. I want us to get a quality major league starter. Mm-hmm. You already know how I feel. I want Blake Snell, but he ain't coming. I want the big dudes. I want the cats.
Just offer him.
We're probably not going to get
high AAVs.
This may be a guy. He's not Blake Snell. He's also not. He's also not bad. And since he kind of had a down year this past year, he's not going to demand as much.
Yeah,
money.
Right.
And
but you're buying low and producing high.
Yeah, if he's all of a sudden won 18 games last year, then he's going to be worth some money. Then I'm going to say, I don't know about that one. And I don't know all the numbers, how that goes right there. But just from what I could, you've done more than me, so I'm going to bow down to you. But we all in agreement. We've got to have we want quality starting pitchers. I think we all know that's what got us beat.
Yes.
Let's get right down to it. We know we got
because
young
your
kids.
Pitching can allow your offense time enough to catch up.
Yeah, we got young kids, but really we didn't see that many of them in the playoffs. Miller had a terrible start.
And quite frankly, it's because you didn't win. He didn't have time to.
Absolutely,
you only had 3 freaking games.
Yeah, and Miller got shelled. God. But I'm not ready. We know he's a good pitcher. I don't care. But
when I went on DWAC, he asked about Miller. I said, "Hey, we've never seen him at Dodgers Nation." I said, "We've never seen him in a play. I know he's emotional. Nobody on earth knows how he's going to react."
Yeah,
and I love the way Friedman put it. He goes, "Hey, he was too hyped and all this, right?
Yeah.
But I'm betting on him the next time he goes out." I loved the way he put that. That was so cool.
It's experience. It's playoff experience. Right. And unfortunately, our other young kids, I think Sheehan came in a long relief when he got first inning for somebody, didn't he? I think, and he got something. But the pressure's off when you're already getting your butt kicked.
Yeah.
Me and you can go in there and pitch. Just let it in there. We're not winning this game, so we're just inning killers. But
yeah.
So I'm not ready to crash those guys. So we don't really – the jury's still out on those young kids as far as their playoff possibilities.
It's always a chance.
Even on Miller. Even on Miller. He's got one and it was bad.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe that. But anyway, so there's a lot of unknowns. If you go get –
so you're all in. That's good.
Well,
that's good.
I want a quality major league starter, and from what I can tell, he is.
Yeah.
But they're not going to float the farm for him. I would like to have the guy, and you guys, and all the other Dodger guys who do more, research than I do may disagree, and that's fine. I just going off what I was reading. I was digging into his numbers, and
I've never ran anybody that was against it. I'm the only one. I'm probably the least excited. I'm not against it. I'm probably the least excited, I should say.
Right, but. I mean, you got to look up, and the guy's won a lot more games than these young kids.
That's
you know
correct.
what I'm saying?
That's correct.
So there's a lot of ways of looking at it.
But so had Lance Lynn.
Yeah.
So had Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Heck, yeah. The whole Dodger rotation was better than this guy. But they weren't there when you needed them. So and they all got hurt. But
yeah.
So they're
just playing devil's advocate a little bit here.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
If we all knew what was going to happen, it sure would be a lot easier.
Coach, you're firing fastballs tonight, man. You're
in everyday life, baby. Yeah, I've been went after Jerry Jones, and I love the Cowboy. I didn't go after him.
We need Dallas to dominate the game in the first quarter, and for it to be over, and for you not to be stressed, where you can just sit around and talk Dodgers baseball for the rest of the day.
I gave all I gave on my opinion on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna be a Dallas Cowboy fan, like a Dodger fan till I die. I don't care what they do. And Koufax. Going back, I was telling the guy the other day. One of our coaches here at Stillwater's from Southern California. He's a diehard Dodger fan. A guy named Billy Jones.
Yeah.
Billy Jones. He's here. We were talking
comes
about
over to our JV tournament some.
Yes, Billy, and we were talking about it the other day. And I was telling the first time that Rex and I went to the Dodger Astrodome, watched so much. Rex, I got a press pass. I was in the locker room down there. Walter Austin puffing on a cigarette. Lasorda's the third base coach. There's Lopes, Russell, Say, Garvey. And I'm just basically I'm down there getting autographs, acting like I'm a reporter. I'm a 17-year-old Guthrie High School student. I ain't
trying not to act starstruck.
I'm trying not to act starstruck, getting autographs from guys. Anyway, but I remember that being a Dodger fan, I was in heaven. And Garvey was the nicest guy ever. The rest of them kind of looked at us like, "What the heck are these guys doing here?"
Yeah.
Garvey actually come over and talked to us. He's pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
Lasorda messed with everybody. Just typical Lasorda. He just walked around messing with everybody in the whole locker room. So. And Austin just hitting on a cigarette and never said a word. So Smokey Austin, that's the old days.
Lasorda loved Ogden, Utah. Ogden was always in the Pioneer League. They were the rookie league team. Lasorda actually got his managing career started there, talking to Austin Chubb, who actually was the manager in Great Lakes in 2019. Then he moved up. He was actually the manager, I should say, in Ogden when the last time that, before they made all the changes in 2020, when the Dodgers still had a team in Ogden. The rookie team. Matter of fact, John Littell played on that team.
Yes, he did. Made All-Star team there. Yeah,
they're from Stillwater boy. Yep. Yeah, and one thing that Austin Chubb said about Tommy Lasorda was he'd come like twice a year because he just loved Ogden, and he would just come and sit down, and he knew everybody's name. He knew the backup second baseman. He knew he was 4 for his last 5. He said he was just a guy, man. He said Tommy Lasorda was amazing like that.
Yeah. When he bled Dodger blue, he wasn't lying.
Yeah,
he always said that. It's true.
Let's get to some outfielders. Here are the guys that I think are most likely for the Dodgers to go after in free agency. I think I'm saying this right. Teoscar Hernandez, Michael Brantley. We talked about him a little bit last time. Adam Duvall, 35-year-old from the Red Sox. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Tommy Pham, who we just saw with the D-backs, have a really good finish to them. Hunter Renfroe, Joey Gallo. And then obviously you have the two for the Dodgers, Jason Hayward and David-Peralta. And just looking at this list, Coach, and I've studied it quite a bit. I mean, because I dove into it heavily, because I think the Dodgers might get a corner outfielder, and I'm trying to figure out the style of player, the guy that I want. Looking through everything and just kind of putting my 2 cents together with all it. Honestly, the guy that I came out with that I would want the most, I think this is going to surprise some people. I would want Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He would be literally my number one pick for an outfielder. Okay.
Can you read my pad? What my number one is?
Is that Lourdes Gurriel?
It's exactly.
Are you kidding me?
I gave him number one right there, Case. No, I feel the same way. I got to think, well, maybe I'm just, because it's recent history, maybe I'm just like, no. He would be my number one on that list. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, what were your reasons?
I just looking at he's 30 years old.
Yes.
So he's still got some years in. Again, we're playing for next year. The guy was great. He was good in the playoffs this year. He comes from a baseball lineage. I mean,
yes.
his father,
no
his
doubt.
brother, he's a baseball guy.
That's important.
He's a good outfielder. He had good numbers. He's got good numbers.
261, 82 RBIs, 5 stolen, 24 home runs.
Yes.
K percentage of 17.4, Coach.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You're talking 24 home runs and a K percentage of 17.4. His ISO was 25 points higher than his K percentage.
Is he available? I hope so.
His WAR's 106.
Yeah.
Or his WAR's 2.1. His WRC plus is 106.
Okay. No, I had him down as number one. So go ahead. I'll shut up.
No, that was all I had. I'd be curious as to know from the lobby's perspective. Okay, of the names I went over again. Teoscar Hernandez, 31 years old, from the Mariners. Michael Brantley, we talked about him, 36-year-old. Adam Duvall, a guy that strikes out quite a bit, doesn't steal a whole lot of bases. As a matter of fact, he played center, but he can play center field and right field. Like the Dodgers do value defensive versatility. Okay, but I think the metrics would suggest that if he did come to the Dodgers, he would definitely be probably definitely corner outfielder, probably a right fielder. 19 home runs, and that's even after breaking his wrist. So Duvall does have a world of power. So if you're kind of wanting to reinvent Joey Gallo, if you will, get that type of offensive player to bring some thump, he might be that guy. K percentage 31.2. That's high. I mean, that's very high.
I started saying the strikeouts. Yeah.
Yeah. WRC plus though 116, Coach, and he has his WAR is average WAR is around 2. He's right there at 1.9. So he's just about as valuable as everybody else. But lots of home runs. So it just depends on kind of like Max Muncy. If you need that style of player, he could be valuable. Hunter Renfroe with the Reds, 371. He only had 36 plate appearances last year.
Right.
Okay, so no, excuse me. His first year in the league, he had 36 plate appearances. He had 371. But since Hunter Renfroe, kind of that name brand name, would you agree?
Yeah,
okay, since 231, 248, 216, 156, 259, 255, 233. K percentage isn't bad, 22.8. ISO is only 183 though. But he has hit 80 home runs in the last 3 years. So Renfroe's another guy that low average, lots of strikeouts, kind of a Max Muncy type offensive player as far as the statistics go. And that those 80 home runs have come over roughly 1,500 at bats. Then you have Joey Gallo, of which the Dodgers tried that one out. And then you can just bring back Jason Hayward or David Peralta. So, hey, let me get back to lobby here. Those are my names that I think the Dodgers will most heavily go after. Are there any other after Gurriel Jr. that strike you, Coach?
I went after Renfroe for number 2 because it's either him or Duvall. I went for Renfroe because he's younger. It was similar, like you said, the Max Muncy type. Home run hitters, hit for low average. And I went for Renfroe because he was younger than Duvall. Very similar if you look at, we get, low average, a lot of home runs. He's going to produce some runs. That's what I had down. So I just wrote down 2 names. I wrote down Lourdes Gurriel first and Renfroe second. I had some question marks there too, but so I could be persuaded to go with Duvall there too. I love Brantley, but he's 36 years old, isn't he?
I just don't think
I've always liked Brantley the player. He's
a lot
not.
Of hit. I think he might hit 260, but he's not really going to be impact.
He struggled with the Astros this year too. I mean, I think the regular season and the playoffs, he wasn't. He was just kind of a guy for him. So I didn't have him on my list. No.
Yeah. Okay. Product says, I'm sorry to say Trout can't share DA Big Show with full of studs. Okay. Mike says, Casey is still mad about the 2023 season like I am when the Dodgers traded Keibert Ruiz. Yeah, no doubt. I got a chance to – Keibert Ruiz came up with Will Smith. Keibert Ruiz was always one step behind Will. And so I actually was in favor of that Ruiz trade. You can go back to any of my content back then because I knew he was blocked. Will Smith was a tremendous athlete. He was going to be the Dodgers catcher. for a long, long time. And then I also had the insight in 2019 when Clayton Kershaw came down to Oklahoma City, which Kershaw always does when he's on rehab because he's from Texas, the Dallas area. Plano, I think, is where he's from. And then his family can come up to Oklahoma City. It's like 3 hours. And they can watch him pitch. He can spend the weekend with them, that kind of deal. So he'd always come to Oklahoma City to rehab. He came in 2019 when Will Smith was with AAA Oklahoma City. And it was the first game of the year, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But, okay, so it was a big circus. I mean, totally full.
Yep.
Right? And Clayton Kershaw came out of that game saying, hey, this Will Smith kid, he's the future of this program. I mean, he was totally impressed with him, right? So I had the advantage of knowing, the insides of, hey, Will Smith's going to be the catcher for the Dodgers for a long time. So Keibert Ruiz, from that perspective, was totally expendable. Mel Tucker says the Damano, in my opinion, wins the worst college football coach contract award, $95 million for Mel Tucker. Yeah, no doubt about it. Pro Doc, Dodgers have not won because with all that money, they don't spend it. We are always trying to do patch-up work with journeymen past their prime or someone who lost or is it hurt. Or I'm going to take exception to that, okay? I do think the Dodgers find reclamations, but it's not because they don't spend. I think they have to find reclamations because they do spend. So you go get Mookie Betts, you go get Freddie Freeman, you go sign, you go trade for Max Scherzer, you trade for Trey Turner, so when you have these guys that are super expensive like that, you have to fill them with contracts around them that are cheap, right? There's two ways to do that. Either cheap veterans or prospects, right? And so the Dodgers go on the discount list because they have to, because if you want to re-sign Walker Buehler, if you want to re-sign Clayton Kershaw, if you want to have Dustin May and all these guys around, and if you want to have a star-studded lineup like the Dodgers want, and if you want to have the stars, then you're going to have reclamation projects and or prospects around them, and nobody's done a better job at finding those guys than the Dodgers.
I'll agree with him on one part. I go farther back than that. I used to always get perturbed. We got Manny Ramirez when he was over the hill, couldn't hit a fastball. We got Nomar Garciaparra when he was basically over the hill. So I can kind of relate to what he said. This is back a few years. Yeah, this is back a few years. When they got him, I'm like, all right, man, sure they've got something left in the tank. Not much there, And I just two names that popped up at me because those are big names at the time, And Manny's in there, couldn't hit a fastball all of a sudden. What the heck, I think who's the guy played for the Indians? He could hit a fastball at his age 45.
Bell?
No, it's a guy. Dadgummit. I'll think of his name here, man.
He had the barrel.
He had the barrel right here. No. Anyway, I'll think of him. Some of your people in there will remember who I'm talking about. He could hit a fastball when he's age 45, probably with barely hit. So I can I'll kind of agree with some of that. The reclamation projects. I agree with what you said too. But in those days, it's kind of like we got those guys to be in the middle of our lineup. I'm going, we can't score any runs. Manny can't hit a fastball. Nomar is he's a shell of himself.
Yeah.
I love those guys. I love them, and we kind of got stuck. I'm just using those two. I know there were some more there also, but
I mean, the Dodgers have been over the luxury tax 80 years in a row.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. I mean, they spend.
They've got to spend, and they do spend it. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now now where you at? I mean, all these pitchers, are we getting ready to float some high price? Some guys who've been hurt, or they, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things come into it. They can't base their decisions off. Walker Buehler's a stud when he's there. Of course, hopefully he's healthy. May has a chance of being a big.
It's going to be limited next year, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we got money, but where are you going to spend it at? I mean, like we always said, you can't go to Mookie and Freddie and say, "Oh, we're in rebuilding mode." They don't want to hear that crap. They didn't come here to rebuild. So, and those guys, and they're not rebuilding. The Dodgers aren't rebuilding. They're doing what they got to do, try to win next year. We've got that established.
So saying that, is Dylan Cease not enough? Not too much of a reclamation for you? I mean, he's not guaranteed right at this second. He's not pitching right at this second.
Has he been hurt? I guess what I'm saying. Has he got any other than that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
I'm trying to get myself talked into it.
He's been in the big leagues.
Talk me into this.
He's been in big leagues since 19. I looked at that stuff today, and he was 7-9 last year, but he was still a strikeout pitcher. I mean, his 7-9, his ERA was up, but his strikeouts were still the same. He was still a strikeout pitcher. He's 97. One time they said his changeup was 77. That's almost two, but it's, whatever. But he's a slider guy. He threw a lot of sliders 2 years ago. I think he's around 87 on his slider, which is a little bit above the major league average for that. But so I don't look at him really as a reclamation product. Lance Lynn's a reclamation.
Not reclamation, project. But for the amount of money you're going to pay for him and what you're going to expect for like Lance Lynn.
I don't know what they're going to pay for
an inning number 5.
Yeah.
You need Dylan Cease to come in and be an ace.
Yeah,
he's a reclamation for that high of a pitcher that you're going to need from him. Correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if you're going to hire. I don't know if we're bringing him in to be number 1, are we? I don't think he's the number 1.
Well, who is number 1 then?
He's a White Sox number 1.
Okay. Well, if you're starting the playoffs tomorrow, who's the number 1 for the Dodgers?
Well, it's got to be Miller or Kershaw.
Okay. Well, Miller has an ERA of what in the playoffs right now? That's kind of my point.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we need a guy right now that you can say, hey, he's clearly going to be our number 1 starter in the playoffs because, look, he's kicked ass all these years in the playoffs. That's the guy to me that you empty the bank for.
Well, they're going to empty the bank for Dylan Cease. I don't have that. There's no reason.
So that's not good enough is kind of what I'm saying. You need to go bigger.
Well.
Or more.
Well, Case, go back to last year. Did we go bigger on the trading deadline? No.
We couldn't, though, because of the new rule with the stupid wild card.
That's what I'm saying. In the offseason, last year, I mean, they haven't gone big. Are they going to be able to go back? I know we got, Syndergaard. I guess Syndergaard was hurt, whatever, but whoever. But, I mean, this guy, I mean, like I said, you give me a Blake Snell, man, there's your number 1. But it ain't happening. It's a Cy Young Award winner. Whatever, you're not going to get him. But I don't think you sign this guy, you can't float the bank to him. No, but it seems to me like he's a quality major league starter.
I just still think the Dodgers are incomplete, even if you get him. You still have another pitcher to go. Well, you still haven't solved your number 1 pitcher yet.
No, I agree with you, and they're not going to get 2 of those guys.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, you can't get 1. So basically, if we're basing off kind of
you
what
just
you're
nailed
saying,
it. Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, if we're based on what you're saying, we don't get any one of them. We just go with our young kids and go, right?
I don't know. It's a tough.
You still understand?
Yeah,
I mean, there's only 2 ways you can go. A lot of this,
I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm trying to talk myself into it, and I'm just such a believer in these young pitchers. It's just hard to talk me into thinking that a guy like that's a better choice or better option.
Hey, if they want to jump up next year, say Miller's number 1, Kershaw's going to the bullpen, and we're bringing these kids.
That doesn't do it for me because there's no playoff. There's no playoff.
There's 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no, you're right. Like I said, Miller's still going to play.
I want a guy that Andrew Friedman can get on the press conference when they bring him in and say, "We brought this guy in to win game freaking 1 of every series in the playoffs."
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I want Andrew Friedman to be able to say that when he brings a guy in.
Yeah.
I don't know who it'd be.
So who is that guy?
That's a good. Austin would know more, but the lobby would probably know more about that.
You know what I'm saying?
He's out there, Coach. Maybe Corbin Burns.
Okay.
I mean, I think Corbin Burns he would move the needle. And
would he be your number 1? He's going to be number 1 when he comes in. Okay.
Right. I mean, okay. Let's get back to some more comments. We have a great lobby. Fernando says, "Good point, Tony, about Trout wanting to win." I agree with you, Coach. I think if Mike Trout wanted to be a Dodger, that I think they would actually make that happen. Maybe he can pressure Moreno for a trade to the Dodgers, even though Moreno does not want to trade with them. Okay, hey, we have one that agrees with us here, Coach Craig, who joins all of our shows. Craig, if you read any of the comments that he makes, he is just a tremendous Dodger fan. He says, sign Gurriel Jr., who is on Arizona. He's a contact hitter, Hep C. I like that Cease gets Ks at a high rate, but he definitely has some things to fix. Okay, maybe the Dodgers see something. Okay, so do you want a veteran that has things to fix, or would you rather just turn it over to Nick Frasso, who has a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, River Ryan, who's hitting 98, 99, Landon Knack, who lands 4 pitches in the strike zone, Ryan Pepio, Gavin Stone? That's kind of where you're at. If the guy's not automatic right this second, if he's not automatic right this second, then why is he better than Nick Frasso? If he's not automatic right this second, why is he better than Ryan Pepio? If he's not automatic right now, why is he better than Emmett Sheehan? Emmett Sheehan has stuff to fix.
Yeah, that's what I said. I guess my question is, are they better than him? Are they better than him? We don't know that question. Either. You know what I'm saying?
I think so.
Yeah, but there's all
I
those
think
unknowns.
when you look at velo and you look at upside and you look at ceiling
Yeah.
and you look at, it's that question: are you looking for ceiling or floor, Coach?
Yeah.
I think Dylan Cease probably has a higher floor, because he's been in the major leagues,
Sure.
right? Okay, and
Again, we're trying to win next year.
At least here's the major league floor, like when Gavin Stone came in and didn't do very well at the major league level.
Right,
You don't know what the floor of a rookie is going to be. Hell, it could be way down there, right? Whereas you know where the floor of a major league veteran is, right?
Yeah.
But so are you going to go at this looking at floor is too much of a defeatist way of looking at it. I would rather go for ceiling.
Sure.
So I think I think Nick Frasso, I think River Ryan, I think Ryan Pep, I think those guys have higher ceilings, although they don't have a floor. Right?
So then you're saying we're rebuilding the whole pitching staff. There's the R word. There we go.
Are you not rebuilding with Dylan Cease?
Well, I mean,
No, see, I'm saying go get a veteran that's not rebuilding.
But
he doesn't have problems.
He's a proven major leaguer. I mean,
okay.
He's not a front
What was
line.
his ERA last year?
It was 4-something last year, but it was 2-something the year before. Yeah. It was 4.5 last year, I think. He's 7-9 with 4.5.
I mean, what was, that's kind of what I'm saying. Baseball is very much so, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. Yeah, and we got rid of 2 guys that are MVPs now, Bellinger and Seager. So
sure
you're preaching to the choir, big boy. I mean, as soon as we get rid of Bellinger and Seager, they're MVPs.
You're doing a good job of handling me tonight, Coach, because I'm
just going to go, wait a minute. We can't have it both ways, Case.
Only like Coach Alt can do it.
Yeah. We can't have it both ways. Hell, I want Seager and Bellinger back.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
okay,
anyway.
I want Burns. That's what Hep C said. Yeah, no doubt. That's the kind of guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Corbin Burns, go big.
I'm in.
Man.
I'm all in on it. I'm all in on him too.
I think as far as the White Sox go, Cease is way better than Lance Lynn. Yeah, I'd hope so. Yeah, that's what Daniel says. Product always does a great job. I take Burns and Williams. Cease has 2 years of team control. I'm one that wants fewer amounts of years of team control, not more, okay, because I want the Dodgers to have flexibility. Yep. So whenever you say like 1 year of team control, a lot of people view that as a negative because they're going to be free agents again. I don't. I view that actually as a positive for the Dodgers because that gives them the flexibility they like. When the Dodgers have flexibility to use the money that they have, I think that helps them. Cease shot his wad, Product says. Let's see. Let me go to the bottom here and I'll work my way back. Fernando says, at random hero, Walker is still a question mark and Kershaw may and Gonson will also not pitch. That leaves nothing but rookies. Yeah, 100%. Casey, if the asking price for Cease doesn't include one of the higher touted arms, but instead is centered around Bush, Vivas types that are blocked and maybe a Knack who is just solid. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So the cost for a guy like Dylan Cease is not going to be in prospects. Again, you're going to replenish the prospects because behind Nick Frasso is River Ryan. Behind him is Kyle Hurt. We haven't even talked about him. Behind him is Ronan Kopp, Ben Kasparius, Justin Robleski, our Oklahoma State boy, Maddox Bruns. I mean, it's endless. Okay.
Yeah,
the cost isn't in prospects.
No,
the cost is in you have a guy standing on a major league mound that is taking up innings that one of your rookies that has a higher ceiling needs to be having. That's the cost, is taking up the spots and innings away from guys and rookies that need either innings on the mound or that's the cost right there. So you have to weigh.
Lynn this year. Lance Lynn took it away this year.
Correct.
Correct.
Lance Lynn took away innings that
we got a 14-game lead. We could have done without him, but anyway.
I mean that's the cost of Lance Lynn. The cost of Lance Lynn was, the cost of J.D. Martinez was Michael Bush has no major league experience. Right. The cost of Lance Lynn is now you think Ryan Pepio is good, but I have no proof.
Yep.
That was his cost. It's not, you can't think in money and prospects. You got to think in playing time. Does that make sense?
I got you.
Am I wrong there?
No. That's what I'm saying. I would have loved to see those rookies throwing last year,
Yeah.
And they did. They had because everybody got hurt. So that they did get. We do have a sample size on some of those guys.
Yeah. Corbin Burns, that surefire ace at Hep C. I agree. Go all in.
Yep.
Go all in. Okay. Do what you have to do.
Go for it.
If you tell me you're going to get Corbin Burns, I'm telling you, short of Bobby Miller. Okay. Whatever. Go do it. Yeah, and the other teams are going to be smart enough not to say, hey, we want Bobby Miller or not.
They're not going to ask for Miller. No,
Yeah,
they're not
they're
that
gonna be-
stupid. That's a deal killer.
Yamamoto, Mike says Yamamoto's a number one. Mike and I got into this. Yamamoto has not thrown a major league inning yet. I know Mike is very confident in that, the same way that I'm super confident in the rookies, but I'll tell him the same way everybody tells me with these rookies. You have no idea. You haven't seen them pitch in major leagues yet, right?
That's true.
Okay,
That's
and
true.
my response to that is, yeah, you're right. Right?
No.
Okay,
Yep.
what can the Dodgers do to stop the base stealing? Fernando, great news. Okay, Tyrone Lorenzo, I have this confirmed. Go to the Dylan Shotka interview, catcher at the single A level. In a game, coach, sub 1.8 pop time.
Jeez.
Sub 1.8, Tyrone Lorenzo. Okay, the single A club Rancho Cucamonga, it was actually a running joke. They threw everybody out, all of their catchers. Jesus Galiz, Jorge Puerta, Simon Reed, and then Tyrone Lorenzo. This has become a emphasis at the lower levels at the minor leagues. Okay, so it's coming. All right, the Dodgers have realized the running game's coming. We have to figure out how to shut it down, and they did at the single A level. Dalton Rushing's gotten better with that. Diego Cartaya, coach, every time I went to Tulsa, he was throwing down to second base with Yorbit Vivas and working on his throwdown. So that's the answer right there to you, Fernando. That they are actually, like everything, coach, it takes time because they're working from the ground up.
Until the major leagues quit making bigger bases and the less time they can throw over. Tell them to cut that crap out too. That's helping the running game.
Yep. Corbin Burns, that number one guy. Random says sleeping on Walker Buehler is a little bit on the number one talk, assuming he's healthy. He can be that guy.
Yep.
I'm going to have to see the hell. I even if his production is number one, I just don't think he's going to give you length. What would you say, coach?
He hasn't so far.
Yeah.
He hasn't so far. Quality, yes, when he's in there, when he's healthy, but length, no.
We are about out of time, man. This has gotten so much fun. I realize it's 8:32. Does Fiducia have a good arm? Serviceable, Jay. Nothing that's going to blow you away. I talked to Alex Friedman today, the AAA announcer, broadcaster. He talks about Hunter Fiducia. He was the first guy I asked about, and so when I release that, you'll be interested in getting his comments on Fiducia. Serviceable. Nothing Hunter Fiducia does is going to make you go, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Everything he does is going to make you go, yeah, good player, right? That kind of guy. The guy that's just really reliable. Casey, what would you want Friedman to do? Basically, is asking him to go out and get Snell. Well, I mean,
you already know how I feel. That's all, but it ain't happening.
But I'm wanting my cake and eat it too, because I'm saying I want that guy, but I don't want him to sign like to 8 years. So it's like if you're Andrew Friedman, you're looking at a guy like me going, dude, everybody wants that.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
no doubt about it.
If that guy's out there, we'll get him. So kind of what I'm saying is you take a guy like Snell and you say, hey, let's say, I don't know the exact number. You want $250 million, right? Okay, we're going to give you $250 million, but it's going to be over 3.5 years, 4 years, not 7. So you're going to get the exact same amount of money, just less years. I think that's what the Dodgers could do. You're going to go over the luxury tax anyways. So, Fiducia's better than Barnes.
The Cardinals did with Pujols, but he went with the Angels anyway. So.
Yeah, right. Coach, do you have any final thoughts? I know I have rambled a lot tonight. I apologize for that.
No, that's good stuff, man. It's good talking. I'm glad you sent me some stuff. I was able to do a little homework here. Don't feel quite as dumb as I normally am, but I got opinions on stuff. And again, not being a major league personnel guy that knows what, has to work with the money and all that stuff, just being a lowly high school and Legion coach that has to make decisions based off what you see and all that stuff. But I enjoy getting into this stuff and talking, and seeing where you got to go with it. And it's great that I'm like you. I want my cake and eat it too. I want Snell, but I don't want to give up Stone or any of those guys. I want to keep Sheehan. You
don't want to sign a 9-year contract. Yeah.
I want a perfect world, man. I want Snell, and we'll give him some low end Class A. That ain't happening. But anyway, so I want my cake and eat it too, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. So I enjoyed it, man.
We got into zero prospects tonight, and that's okay. I typically tend to go on way too long whenever I get on a rant like this, and I don't think I got it into any of the comments like I wanted to, but that's okay. Hey, we've got 3 shows a week, and we'll have Coach Holt again back on Sunday, and it's time for me to go Go hug and kiss on my two beautiful pit bulls and my beautiful wife, and have a good
There you
Sunday
go.
evening. Does that sound good, Coach?
Sounds good, man. I'll do the same. I got some little wiener dogs in there and a beautiful wife, Melissa. So
Hey, one last reminder: we did start a GoFundMe, a new fundraiser for our spring training account, trying to send everybody who'd like to go in Dodgers Daily community to spring training. And so, if you'd like to donate $1, 50 cents, $5, $10, whatever you'd like, Dodgers Daily is always going to be free. Don't feel any pressure to do that. Just saying, as they say, just saying, right? If you'd like,
we'll get Terry Porter to drive us out there. He can put a cigar in his mouth and drive to the end of the earth. I've seen him do it. Tologa, Oklahoma.
It's going to be in a 35-year-old truck too.
And I said, where's Tologa at? It says, you drive to the end of the earth and you got about 5 miles left. So I know Terry Porter can get it serious.
You drive out to a dirt road and you can't see the end. You drive out a dirt road. You're not at the end of the world, Coach. But if you look off into the horizon, you can damn sure see it, right?
You can damn sure see it from Tologa, Oklahoma. That's right.
Okay,
give it up for our California buddies to hear.
Coach, you know how much I love you. Thanks for
love
joining
you too,
tonight.
man.
Hey, you know how much we love the Dodgers, and we know how much we love you guys out there at Dodgers Daily for joining and making this so much fun. So thanks again.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and go Dodgers.